Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Dianna Kokoszka from bolddianna.com. Dianna, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Yes, Dianna is a leadership coach and trainer, certified in probably a dozen things that we'll get into in just a little bit. But let's go back in time. How did you get started?
Oh, my word. Well, I couldn't afford a babysitter, so I put my kids in a little red wagon and started going door to door. That was selling real estate. And after selling 104 homes my first year, I got the attention of many people and went on into leadership, started my own company. Many things happened. I eventually went to the CEO role of Keller Williams Realty International's coaching and training division, taking it from losing $1 million a year to producing over $500 million. So they kind of liked me while I was there. Helped them get into the Hall of Fame for training after taking #1 spot for 5 years in a row.
That is absolutely incredible. I am sure the longer version of that story could probably fill a book if it hasn't already.
It could, only we need to keep moving, right?
All good. Well, let's talk. Well, let me talk just a little bit about that before we get into it. So you took them from losing $1 million to generating a lot more.
Right.
What were some of the key changes that you made to help make that ginormous turnaround?
I appreciate that question because I think everything starts with clarity. And then you've got to put energy behind that clarity. And as leaders, we're always talking about the vision. In fact, having dinner with John Maxwell one evening, I asked him, I said, how often did you talk about the vision? And he said, Dianna, I spoke about it so much, I thought I was going to throw up if I had to say it one more time. He says, you are constantly talking about the vision. And then, of course, I found that by putting energy behind that vision and one by one getting people to buy into the vision because it was their vision as well. And then it was up to me to deliver success for those people. And each one of them had a different need. Each one of them had a different thought about success. And I also found, Seth, that they all had a financial thermostat in their head. And so I would ask many questions. And once I found out that financial thermostat, I had to find out, did it match their goals? And what I found, most people, it didn't. Their goal was up here and their financial thermostat was set here. And I knew that that gap meant that if they got close to their goal, they would sabotage themselves. So I had to raise that financial thermostat. And as I raised their financial thermostat, well, you already know, when you help other people get what they want, you get what you want, as Zig Ziglar taught us. So that was basically it. I poured into the people. By the way, when I first got there, nobody wanted to use the company because it wasn't doing real well in the coaching division. In fact, the president and CEO wouldn't even use the coaching company. So I had to actually prove that it worked. And I ended up giving some free coaching away to some folks with a kind of a trade-off is as your business goes up, you got to become the poster child and sing the praises of what we're doing for you, which they did. So it was a rocky start. And it was like the hockey stick that we all know. You just go and go and go and go, and all of a sudden it takes off, right?
Well, I'm sure you could have written a book just on that turnaround. I'll ask you just one more question that applies to everybody. How do we raise our financial thermostat?
A great point. You can do things like even taking the Rob report, looking at expensive things and saying to yourself, I can't afford it yet. Putting that yet on the end allows your brain to expand. Have experiences. For example, last month I went and rode the bobsled that the Olympians practice on. It was actually the Olympic track that they used in the Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah. So there I was. It's actually in Park City. And I have to tell you, I was nervous. I mean, I put this helmet on and my head actually went forward like this because it was so heavy that I thought, come on, feel the fear and do it anyway. And after that experience of going 4Gs down a track, right, you go over a mile in 55 seconds and you're like 180 degrees on your side. Well, when it was over, I went, wow, if I can do that, why are my goals so low, right? We expand our mind, and once a mind is expanded, it never goes back. So it doesn't have to be around money. It can be just about expanding your life. Take a walk and look at the abundance. I mean, if you're in an area that the trees still have leaves, you can't count all the leaves. You can, if you're on a beach, you can't count the sand, grains of sand. It's those types of things, just having an abundant mindset and looking at all the abundance. Giving gratitude helps raise your financial thermostat.
That is awesome. You often talk now about mindset is the foundation of success. What's a mindset shift that changed your life?
Well, one of the things I found, first of all, is in my research that mindset is 95% of our success. And so that's why I developed a mindset assessment so people would actually know, because your mindset is in your unconscious mind. So how do you know what this thing called your mindset is, right? So when we look at it being success, how I started shifting my mind was, what area do I desire to work on? You know, I can tend to be, I like to say, a realist, and it can go to negativity sometimes. So I literally put on a wristband or a bracelet, if you will, and every time you have a negative thought, you just take it and change it to the other wrist and say the new positive thought with it. Affirmations, a lot of people don't believe in them, yet I do know that the more we think about something, the more we ingrain it in our brain. Neuroscience says nerve cells that fire together wire together. So therefore, when we keep saying the same thing, I am whatever it is that we desire, those two words are powerful words. So I watch the I am statements. I also believe that when somebody else tells you that you look good or that you are a great leader, you believe it more than if your mom, dad, or yourself says it. So I started finding that I would have the people take a recorder and I would be the person that said, you are. And then I would say whatever it is that they desire to work on. And so they would just play that recording. So they heard someone else saying, you are this person. And I truly believe that people grow into the conversations we have around them. So what type of conversations are we having to help other people? And more importantly, what conversations are we having with ourselves inside our own head? Because that's the thoughts are where everything actually starts.
Amen to that. What inspired the Bold Dianna brand and platform?
Well, I wrote a program called BOLD, Business Objective, A Life by Design. And I had 31 BOLD laws, things like what you focus on expands, keep your emotions between the lines. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. Fear or faith, you choose. You can have reasons or results. You can't have both. And this program, it was written around mindset, selling, and it was written during the time when real estate was going downhill, bad, 2008, 9, 10, in that era. And of course, the banks, everything was going crazy there. More importantly, though, realtors were getting out of the business. What we found was while other people's businesses were going down, companies were closing their doors, that Keller Williams, because of the BOLD program, were actually going up. Agents were selling 14.7 transactions in a 7-week period. And we just couldn't believe what was happening in this Bold program. So I was kind of labeled with it because I had written Bold. I had 57 coaches out teaching Bold all across the nation and in Canada. Then we took it to the entire world population through Keller Williams. It's still going today, even though it started in 2009. When I stepped down as CEO, there'd already been over 200,000 people through it. Continues to go.
That is absolutely incredible. What a legacy. How do you help people translate vision into action, especially during like uncertain times?
Oh, that's a great question. Uncertainty, the brain wants certainty. The brain actually strives to be comfortable. And so reminding people that we all live in this cage that we've built for ourselves. Our thoughts are the bars of the cage, and inside that cage is our comfort zone. And yet everything that we want is outside our comfort zone. As John Maxwell says, we have uphill goals with downhill habits. And that comfortable zone is a curse. When we get outside of that comfort zone, that's when we actually start thriving. So listening to their vision, where it is it that you desire to be? Where would you be and what would you be doing right now if you knew you couldn't fail? Well, you write all of that down. Now let's take that and make baby steps into implementing what's going to be the foundation that will grow that success upon. And so I think it's about having a plan and actually finding out what they desire, reminding them that life it's up and down. It's a roller coaster. Yet, let me ask you, would you buy a ticket to ride a flat roller coaster? Nobody would. We'd pay money to have a roller coaster go up and down and throw us around, and then we complain about it when it happens in our life, instead of going, wow, I am really growing through this as I go through this. Yet most people don't want to go through it, and they back up and they back down, never reaching their dreams. And I think as leaders, what we do is we help give them the next step, and we speak encouragement into them, and we speak goodness into them and positivity as though they're already accomplishing it. I think that's what leaders do. If we're not delivering success to our people, then we're really not a leader.
You have helped so many people. What's your biggest challenge now?
Myself. It's always my biggest self. The biggest room in my home is the room for improvement, right? I'm constantly working on myself to improve, to learn, to find the next thing. I mean, AI is a big thing right now, and I don't want it to take over, yet I do have to understand it. And it's so amazing how we can use these new tools and to constantly be learning instead of longing for the ways that things used to be. People, like I said, that comfort zone, we got to get outside of it every single day. Drive a different way to work. Maybe drink a different beverage, experience a different food, have experiences. I do experiences. I actually have a mentorship program that I have people in, and I give 3 great experiences throughout the year just to expand their thinking. I think everybody needs to do this type of thing to keep themselves growing.
Amen. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Adding value to people. At 7 a.m., my phone has an alarm. It goes off. It says, what will you do today to add value to people? At 7 p.m., it goes off and says, what did you do today to add value to people? And one of the ways that I've really helped add value is to remind people that the first 10 minutes of their day is the way we predict our future. What are you doing in the first 10 minutes? Because we have 2 choices every moment that we get up. Every morning, we can repeat yesterday, or we can rewrite a new future for what it is that we desire. And some people just go back into the same old routine, driving the same way to work, talking to the same people, drinking the same coffee, doing the same thing, and then going home, secretly hoping that something will change in their life. Well, nothing is going to change, because you can't get to better until you get to different.
Which segues perfectly into tell everybody about the new book.
Yes. Well, that is a good segue. It's becoming more because, becoming more isn't an option. It's a necessity in life. And the name of the book is Becoming More. You can't get to better until you get to different. It helps you rewire your brain to a new way of thinking, a more abundant, confident, grateful, a growth mindset, one that has humility and curiosity intertwined.
That is absolutely amazing. Talk a little bit about the different options you have for people to learn from you and work with you.
Well, we have Coaching Blitz people say it should be a communication blitz because it is all about helping people get to peak performance, because performance equals potential minus interference. And we give models and systems and words and questions to ask to help remove the interference that people have. I call them running parachutes. We have a home on the beach in San Diego, and a lot of people, when they're running and they want to exercise better, they put a running parachute on their back, and that wind is the resistance and it helps build strength. So when they take the parachute off, man, they can just run like crazy. Well, I believe that we all have parachutes that we've attached to our back some way, somehow, maybe through programming of our parents, our teachers, television, friends, whatever it is. And this program helps teach people how to clip their own hooks to the parachute, as well as helping others. Another way is the 14mindsets.com. It's a mindset assessment that gives you, where do you stack up in your mindset? Why is it that you make the decisions you make over and over again? What energizes you? What drains you? What words are you using that maybe if you changed a little bit would help? For example, one lady, she kept saying, "Oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated about this. I'm frustrated about that." And I said, okay, based on your mindset, we're going to change that one word to fascinated. I'm now fascinated with this. I'm fascinated with that. And it was amazing how she changed from being a complainer to being curious about what is she fascinated about. And her performance went up. We teach just little tiny tweaks that people can make. And of course, we have our coaching for a minute, coaching cadre that my husband does. Both my husband and I have been recognized as 2 of the top 25 coaches in America. So he helps train coaches weekly on a group call, which is a lot of fun. And then I have my free Q&A every Tuesday morning. So those are some things that they can get involved in. And of course, our mentorship program. Just go to DiannaK.com. That'll be the best.
All right. This has been Seth Greene with Dianna K. Dianna, thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Thank you so much for having me. What a great opportunity.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.